Now for the overall rating of this phone. What I think about this phone, how much I would rate it out of 5 stars for the whole package. Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is an in-depth review of the Google Pixel 4a 5G. If you haven't seen my previous video where I unboxed this phone, you definitely should check it out because I gave my first impressions there. And once you've seen that, you can come over to this video and continue watching it. Or you can watch it later after this video. That is up to you. At the very end of this video, I will be rating this phone out of 5 stars to see if it's worth it or not, if you should get it or not. Now that being said, give this video a big thumbs up if you like these kind of tech review videos and let me know in the comments below if I should do more of these for you guys. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell without fail so you can be one of the first people to view my videos. Let's get on to this video. Come on. With this phone, Google made sure to let us know that 5G doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to break your bank to get 5G. They made sure that they give you 5G on a budget. In fact, they did this almost at half the price of the other phones that are out there. They did compromise on the IP rating and the flagship to give us a better phone at a way cheaper price. It almost gave us a $200 benefit, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not having an IP rating and not having a flagship phone when I'm saving $200. So in the United States, this phone retails at $499 and it has a 6.2-inch display. It also has a 6GB RAM and 128GB storage, which is not expandable. For those of you who need expandable storage, this does not have expandable storage, but it has plenty of storage in it. It also has Snapdragon 765G processor. It is definitely not the best one out there, but you are paying a little less, so this is what you're getting with this phone. And it is not half bad. You can play PUBG and all those other games with no hiccups. When it comes to colors, this phone comes in 2 colors. It has just black and the clearly white version. It has even bezels on all sides, which is pleasing to look at. It doesn't have any uneven, all the symmetry makes it look very pretty. But we still have to remember that this phone still comes with bezels. Phones are coming out with bezel-less designs and infinity edge displays, so this phone is still a little old in that category. The weight of this phone is pretty light. It is extremely light. It weighs about 170 grams. The plastic back definitely contributes to giving it a light feel, but I don't know if you'll want a heavy phone or if you'll want a light phone. I personally would like a light phone. It's easier to carry, it doesn't weigh you down, and I like it. The phone has a 3885 mAh battery, and when it comes to the other phones that were released along with the 4a 5G, the Pixel 5 for example, and the Pixel 4a, both these other phones are slightly smaller than the 4a 5G. Being the biggest one in the line, it still does not have the biggest battery in the line. That is a little ironic. Bigger the phone, bigger the battery, usually, right? But here, that is not the case. Pixel 5 does have a bigger battery life, even though it is a smaller phone than the Pixel 4a 5G. This phone still comes with a power brick and a charging cable, and it has 18-watt fast charging. There are phones out there that come with 65-watt fast charging and all that, but it has 18 and it still works pretty fine. This phone has a fingerprint sensor on the back, which is pretty easy to reach and unlock the phone. You don't have to look for the fingerprint scanners like in other phones, which is usually in display. And this is usually more accurate because they have a physical fingerprint sensor. The phone also comes with an audio jack. Sometimes we just need an audio jack. For example, if I'm flying in an airplane and I need a headset which has a wire to connect into the streaming service that the airplane provides so that I can hear it, and if I can use the same thing on my phone, I would love that. So I'm really happy to see the audio jack on this phone, and it is always nice to have the option. I think it is a very thoughtful addition to this phone because if you are on a strict budget and don't want to buy wireless earbuds and you need to still use your earphones which is wired, you can always use this audio jack. The phone says to have stereo speakers. It actually has an earpiece which is in the bezels on top. That is pretty good. Maybe the bezels weren't half bad in this case. The rest of the speakers are on the bottom of the phone on either side of the USB Type-C port. The phone comes with Android 11 and like most phones out there, they promise 3 years of software updates. So you can be rest assured to get 3 more years of software update and you can be one of the first people to get it. I will walk into a shop and ignore all the other phones and walk straight to this one just for its camera. Google is known for their cameras. They have amazing cameras which can capture amazing photos. The rear camera consists of one 12 megapixel camera and one more 16 megapixel ultra wide camera. If you pay a little more attention here, you'll see that the numbers are very small. Google's AI is the magic behind making their pictures so amazing. On the other hand, there are phones that came out with over 100 megapixel camera. The front camera is an 8 megapixel camera. It has a hole punch cutout in the front of the screen. Now let's look into the photos. Now let's compare it to the other phones that came out in the same year, 2020. The pictures on the Google Pixel phones have always been amazing, but I cannot say the same about the videos. They have been pretty great, but they haven't been the best ones out there. And the Pixel 4a 5G's camera is the same as the Pixel 5's camera, so this is the best camera they put out this year. And in comparison to the other phones that came out this year, you'll see that the photos aren't that great. But don't get me wrong here, I know this phone is only half as much as the other phones. This is almost 50% cheaper than the other phones that I'm comparing this to. I was totally okay with having a plastic back, no IP rating, no flagship, only 60Hz refresh rate, not having the best in class processor, but I wanted the camera to perform. I had high hopes for the camera, but it sadly did not perform that good. I think Google has to pick up their game with the cameras because the other guys are definitely catching up and getting ahead in this race. The back of this phone, it is made of plastic. It is a pretty good plastic, a plastic that I totally do not mind. It does not feel cheap to touch and it is pretty textured, so it gives you a good grip to hold on to and it doesn't slip off that easily. It does get a little smudgy with a sweaty finger and doesn't get that many fingerprints but does get a little smudged. And as for the plastic, doesn't feel cheap at all, like I said, and I am totally okay with this being a plastic back phone. There are a few perks of it being plastic and there are a few cons to it too. First thing, because it's plastic, it does not get so many fingerprints on it like glass would. But the cons on it is, since it's plastic, there obviously is no wireless charging. So you will be sacrificing on wireless charging, but you'll be paying a lot less for the phone overall. If you're okay with having no wireless charging, then you go ahead and get this phone which has a plastic back, which I totally don't mind, by the way. And I'm sure the plastic back won't be the biggest concern because almost all of us use a case on the phone, right? And for my phone's case, I got the Rinky case. This is my Pixel 2 that I reviewed years ago. The case on this phone is also from Rinky. I got this years ago and it has gone through a lot. Trust me, I was sprinting on the road one time and it fell off my pocket and it fell onto the street and got dragged a little bit. but it survived through all of that. The most that happened was a teeny tiny bit of scratch on the case, but that was the extent of it. And if you guys remember the OnePlus 8 Pro video, they had sent over some of their cases so that I could review them, and I loved it. Again, no surprise. And now when I got this phone, I emailed them and asked them if they'd like to send over some of their stuff for this phone because I love them so freaking much. And they said of course they would, and I was so happy to get these two cases and the screen protector for this phone. This video is not sponsored by Rinky, I just love them so much and I hope they sponsor me in the future sometime. But again, thanks to the promotion team at Rinky for sending over some of their stuff for my new phone so I can keep it safe and protected. Now for the rating of this phone. I am going to rate each of the category of this phone out of 5 stars. First category, the looks and design of this phone. It has even bezels, which makes it look symmetric and pretty appealing, and I don't have many complaints about the design itself, so I am going to rate it 4 stars out of 5. Next up, the screen and display. It has a pretty good display, but the only thing it lacks in is the refresh rate. It only has a 60 Hz refresh rate, so I will have to give it 3.5 stars out of 5. Next up, the camera on this phone. When compared to the other phones that came out this year, the phone did not perform as well in the camera category. And in the video category, it lacked by a lot. It does have very good night vision and night portraits that are amazing, but it just wasn't enough. I can only give this phone's camera 4 stars out of 5. I cannot give it any more. I did increase it a teeny tiny bit just because I love them so much, but that is the most I can give this phone's camera. Next, the battery on this phone. It has 3885 mAh battery. Since the phone is so big, I would have expected it to have the bigger battery life too, but it does not. But the phone's battery lasts all day for me, so I am going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. Next, for the software on this phone. They come with the newest software out there and you will be one of the first people to get software updates. So, I am going to give the software 5 out of 5 stars. Last category we have is the price. We know this is a budget phone and they kept in mind the budget and they gave us 5G too. So, it is a pretty good deal if you ask me. So I am going to give the price of this phone 4.5 out of 5 stars. And now for the overall rating of this phone. What I think about this phone, how much I would rate it out of 5 stars for the whole package. So, drum roll please. I am going to give this phone 3.5 stars out of 5 stars. The phone is pretty good. It has 5G and comes in a budget. It has a decent camera, a good battery life, and good performance. So, if you're looking to stay in the budget and want 5G, this is the perfect phone for you. And that is all for today's video. If you like this video, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. And let me know in the comments below if you would ever consider buying this phone. Is this phone for you or is it not? Because these were my views on this phone. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification because I have so many new videos planned for you guys and you can be one of the first people viewing it. That being said, I will have a few of my tech videos linked down below in the end cards and on the iCard. And I will have some of my life linked down below too and in the end cards. And if you haven't already seen my cute little husky puppy Leah, you can find her all over the channel. Now that being said, I will see you in another video very soon. Until then, signing off, LightninGirl. Bye!